So I started off in my photo editing program creating the text I wanted to use, and I saved that text as a JPEG. And then I opened up ScanNCut Canvas and used the tracing function to import that in and trace around my words. And I also added a border and a little heart as well. And then once I had that, I went ahead and saved it as an FCM file so I can just pop it into my ScanNCut and cut it out. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take my USB stick and stick it into my ScanNCut. And now I need to pull up the pattern that I created on ScanNCut Canvas. So I'm going to go to Patterns, Save Data from the USB stick, and then I have some folders set up. If you don't, it will look like this. And you can just scroll through until you find your design. Once you have it, click OK. And now we need to mirror this because it's going to be placed on the underside of the clipboard. So I am just going to go to Patterns. I'm going to select everything because it doesn't matter if that border gets reversed or not. Click OK. Then click the Unify button. That'll just group it all together. Click OK. OK. And now I'm able to click that. You can see it's selected as one big pattern, one group. Go to this and then click the mirror button, and you can see it flipped everything around right there. Click OK, 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 and now I'm ready to cut. So I've already inserted my mat with some vinyl on it into my ScanNCut. Now if I was doing this project just for myself, I would probably use some type of shelf paper or something that was more inexpensive than vinyl, but since I want you to see what I'm cutting, I'm using some vinyl. So use whatever you would like. You just need it to be sticky. So once we're ready, we're going to click OK and OK and cut. And before I hit cut, I want to make sure that you guys have your blade set to about 1.5 is where I like to have mine. It'll depend on how sharp your blade is, how new it is. But I want it to, when it cuts, to be able to cut through the top layer of vinyl, but not the underside of it. That way I'm able to easily transfer it onto my project. Okay, so I am all good to go. I'm going to hit start. Okay, it's all finished cutting. So I'm going to pop out my mat. Okay, so to get started on weeding out the vinyl, I am just going to take the corner and attempt to separate it. There we go. And I just want to gently pull it, especially around these little letters. I want to make sure I do it really slow. Sometimes it has a tendency to want to stick to the vinyl that you want to remove. So it's better to just go slow and not to rip any of the vinyl. Okay, so I got that part done. Now I just need to do the insides of my letters. Okay, so now let me just get my transfer paper so I can transfer it to my project. Okay, so I have my transfer paper and I am just going to separate it from the liner, which of course is easier said than done. There we go. And if you've never worked with transfer paper before, it's basically like a big sheet of adhesive, except it's not so sticky that it won't release the vinyl when you need it to. So that's really the key. So you'll take it, separate from the liner, put the sticky side down, touching the vinyl. And I like to burnish it on there with my thumb or bone folder, just to make sure it really sticks to it and it's easy to transfer. It wants to stick to it, especially with the little letters. And then I'm able to, if it's stuck on there, just peel it off, and I can keep peeling this all the way and then transfer it onto my clipboard. So you can see I'm applying this to the back side of the clipboard, and I did cut apart my transfer tape just to make it easier to work with. Okay, now this is ready to get spray painted, so I'm going to go take it outside. So you can see here when I'm spray painting that I had placed some tin foil on the front side of the clipboard just to keep the paint from splattering onto that side. Okay, so I'm all done spray painting the back side of my clipboard, and the manufacturer's instructions for the spray paint say that it's dry to the touch in about 15-20 minutes, and that because I'm bonding it to plastic, that I need to let it do its whole curing thing for 5 to 7 days. So since I can tell that my vinyl just really wants to get off of there and I'm impatient, I am going to start picking it off. Now if I notice that it's a little bit too wet still or I'm having problems, I'm just going to hold off and let it dry a little bit more. And I'm going to speed up this video because there's nothing more exciting than watching paint dry and removing a vinyl. And voila, here's what it looks like with the vinyl removed. Here's the front side. I'm going to continue to let this dry overnight. Okay, my clipboard has dried overnight, and you can see this is how it looks from the top side. And there's that part right there. So now I have already done a whole bunch of these deli papers previously, and I've used my jelly plate and some foam stamps to create them, and so now I'm going to take those and use some decoupage medium and just decoupage these right on there so that they peek through like that. So that's what I'm going to get going on now. Okay, so my clipboard is finished with decoupaging on. I put a final layer of decoupage over the whole thing to seal it off, and now I'm just going to let it dry overnight. I'm really happy with the way the front side of this clipboard looks, and I can't wait for it to dry so I can finish it off. So I ended up tying on a cute little ribbon to complete this project.